So amongst all the suggestions that always get left in the comment sections of these videos, there's a few themes that always tend to crop up. Among them being, well, review a good toy from this line, review a bad toy from this line, even if you were saving it for Plastic Addict, which, yes, I am trying to get back to. But the ones that really catch my attention are the random oddball things, the things that are just a little bit farther out than the normal spectrum of Transformers that you would come to know and expect. And that's exactly what this is. This is a Beast Wars mutant toy, which has come up in the suggestions from time to time, and I thought, well, I've got a couple of those. That might be worth it. So we are doing Icebird. Really? That's what you went with, Hasbro. I don't know how many nights you toiled away on that one. Certainly different name. Okay, so yeah, Icebird here, as you can see, is kind of a snowy owl in this mode. And with Beast Wars Mutants, because there is no robot mode and there are two beast modes to pick from, I was kind of at a loss of which one to do. Which one do I start the review with? And we eventually went with the owl just because it's a pain to turn the bear into the owl. This way is a little bit smoother transformation. As you can see, as owls go, he's kind of bizarre. Like, okay, so he's got these really big legs and these wings that I'm pretty sure should cover more of his body mass. And yeah, and the less said about the giant gaps in his sides, the better. You know, there are sacrifices here. But, okay, it's good enough to pass as an owl, I guess. It's a little strange. Here, I'll give you a look at the face so you can tell, yes, it's definitely an owl. It's absolutely an owl. If you stare at it long enough, it'll tell you to wake the windfish. Now, there is a little gimmick to him, whereas you press this little piece down, and his beak should come up. But as you can see, it does not work terribly well. There we go. That's a little bit better. I'm not quite sure why, but that's what it does. I don't know. It looks more like an automatic ball opener to me or something. There's a few oddities in this mode. I mean, aside from the fact that it's a bird who obviously has, like, tiger stripe detailing for some reason on its belly and obvious fur on its legs. For instance, the tail feathers here are spring-loaded to flap down, which is kind of annoying, because they kind of flap that direction and don't really look good in this mode. So you kind of have to prop them with the back claws. The claws, again, a little bit inaccurate to an actual owl, as these are, you know, absolutely gigantic claws. I'll say that. Lovely shade of nail polish, though. I will give credit for that. I will also give credit for, well, I kind of like the patterning on the wings. It's a decent paint job to get the feathered look right. When they could have just molded it that way, it's a little bit of an extra mile, and that much I do appreciate. Articulation-wise, you do have ball joints here in the hips, a little bit limited going outward, but all your forward and back needs are met, as well as a rotation, where I guess the knee would be. There's the knee itself with a 90-degree bend, as well as some ankle rotation here. So he does have some posability, and of course there is the wings, which hinge in a couple useful directions. So, yeah, he's an owl, and he actually works as an owl. And there's a few other little hidden tricks and secrets to him, but I think we're going to transform him into, well, beast mode in order to get to any of those, which we're going to start by splitting open his body and getting these legs out. We will flip them up and around and rotate these bear paws out, and that will form our back legs. Now the rest we have to kind of start finagling with from here, and I'll show you this, whatever this is, a little bit later. But for now, we're going to go straight into the beast mode. So you get the head going like that. You get the tail fin. You get tail fin. It's not a fish. This is where, like, there's so much like spring loaded here, like there's like 3 spring-loaded panels in that chest, so it makes it really hard to actually get some of these things positioned and all folded up where they're supposed to be. But with the bear head out, we can go ahead and close that back up and then adjust it that way. We will rotate the claws all the way around from the back to join the ones in the front to create the front paws. And then we'll fold up the back wings this way, and then down to form the sides of the beast. 2, 3. And with a little flip of the tail, that gives us our polar bear mode, which is why the name is Icebird. And yeah, it's the kind of name that springs from the creative minds that gave you Prowl 2. So yeah, polar bear now, as you can see, which is kind of interesting since Beast Wars already had a polar bear, already had an owl now that I think of it too. Because the deep dark secret behind these is they're not Transformers. Well, at the very least, they're not Beast Wars toys. These were originally from the Animorphs line. How bizarre is that? So, these came out after Beast Wars had ended, well into Beast Machine's run, but Animorphs didn't do that well. And one of the new tricks they were going to roll out for the Animorphs line was toys that went straight from one animal to the next, which kind of makes sense in that toy line. Doesn't make much sense in Beast Wars or Beast Machines, so they kind of rolled back to Beast Wars, slapped a mutant tag on them, and that's what they called them from then on out. Which is why he has this. Which here, if I can rotate these down, you can get a good look. This manic little head, which is, now that I look at it, it's very Inferno. It's got the same coloring and same kind of manic grin to it. This was supposed to be the head of whatever human this toy was supposed to belong to. But now it's just kind of like a vestigial robot mode head for a robot mode you can never reach. And to remind you that he is actually a robot in disguise, despite his disguises, he does have a panel that opens up with a little bit of mechanical detailing under there just to show you he's still machine on the inside. And there's the mutant logo. Since these are not Predacons or Maximals, they are their own unique little specimen in the universe. As you can see, as the polar bears go, he's better proportioned and covering a lot more than the owl mode was. There aren't any gigantic gaps in him, other than, these panels that are clearly not the same color fur. But, they did fur mold the backside of the wings, so it does kind of blend in a little bit. So, not terribly bad. The legs here have the same articulation they did in other beast mode. I keep slipping on that. But we also add ball joints here on the back legs as well as ball joints on the ankles, so you can adjust him a little bit more than that. And of course, he does have the tail that can move up and down, and yes, there's a bird beak sticking out of his butt. I'm not going to ask why, there's just a bird beak sticking out of his butt. That's what Icebird does. Don't question him. Don't question him when he apparently has like foot-long talons that are constantly covered in blood. Back feet too. Like, that's the weirdest part about this toy to me, is the fact that the claws are all bright red. Like, okay, in bird mode, maybe you get away with it, but it's still like, why not just paint them black? And it makes sense on both modes. And this is really bizarre. I don't know. I don't know what the idea behind that was. It looks like he's constantly covered in blood, like his victim is still dripping off of his claws. And the only extra playability you get in this mode is, well, his mouth does open. And they did remember to paint the tongue inside, so credit to Hasbro on that one. Even if they are just recycling a mold that would otherwise go completely to waste, they did at least put in the effort to make it look as good as possible. I'm still not sold on these tiger stripe things. Again, I'm pretty sure there were more accurate deco patterns to go with. But whatever, it breaks up the white a little bit, so we'll leave it at that. So that's pretty much Icebird in a nutshell. No heavy gimmicks. This is back when transforming from one to the other was the gimmick, and having 2 beast modes was supposed to be a gimmick in and of itself. it's just too bad. Like it's such a bizarre little thing, you know. And if I had the others, I'd probably make a series of it. But as it is now, this was just an odd one to end the week on and prepare for next week when I have to pull 3 more random toys out of my beak. But I do like him for what he is. He's an interesting oddity. All the mutants are, and I might get to the other one at some point down the line. But for now, he's not bad. He's just more left as a curious oddity, as there's far better Transformer toys of multiple types out there for you. This one's just, I don't know, if you like it strange, I guess, because this is certainly strange, even if lacking in creative naming.